Hey guys, what's going on? This is John with Gamester81.com. In this video, I want to talk about my thoughts about Nintendo. Now, there's pretty strong opinions about Nintendo currently, and I'd really love to hear your guys' thoughts. This is meant to be kind of the reason for this video, more or less, is to share my thoughts and hear your guys' opinions. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there who disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine, and you're welcome to share your disagreement and why you disagree. I will not tolerate any hate or any malicious comments, and if you do that, then I will block you and delete the comments. So I really hope to open up a friendly conversation amongst us fans for Nintendo. I will start by saying this though. I'm a big fan of Nintendo. I purchased every home console of Nintendo day one, outside of the NES because I was 4 years old and I got that for Christmas that year. But everything else, even the Virtual Boy, I bought day one. So I'm a huge fan of Nintendo. When the Wii initially came out, I was excited because of the WiiWare and the fact that you can download games on the network, especially old school games. I think that was a brilliant move by Nintendo. Nintendo really surprised everyone by catering towards what they call the casual market and the casual gamers, more or less. And even though there's considered to be a lot of shovelware for the system, there's still a handful of good games for that. And the Wii was a huge success for Nintendo, and I think Nintendo was even surprised that it sold so well. But then we moved to the Wii U. I think that's one of the biggest issues with Nintendo was the fact that they named it the Wii U. In fact, you ask any casual gamer, I bet you more often than not, they'll think that the Wii U is basically the Wii. They really didn't advertise it very well when it came out. And of course, it has the gamepad, the cool controller, but you can't take that on the go, which I think is a mistake. Of course, there are a handful of good games, and there's some good games coming out for it, including New Zelda and Mario Kart, all that good stuff. And those are dependable and reliable franchises. I mean, no doubt Nintendo has some really great first-party games. Absolutely, there's no doubt there. But the problem is Nintendo they don't have much third-party support. I mean, let's face it, if you could get a game that's on multiple platforms, PS4, Xbox One, or the Wii U, most likely, if you're a gamer, you're probably going to go to the Xbox One or PS4 just because those systems are more powerful, they can do more. Don't get me wrong, the games Nintendo made are great, and there are still a few third-party games that are out there, of course, for the Wii U, but for the most part, the games out there for the Wii U has been a mistake. Now, fortunately, Nintendo has 3DS, and that sold very well. Initially, it didn't do very well because the games were out there, but they're coming out with some excellent games for the 3DS, and that's cool. They released a 2DS, which is a little less expensive for those who want to play in 2D, and that more caters towards the younger audience, obviously. Nintendo's got to be careful because they have a lot of games for the iOS they got to worry about, Android. A lot of portable gaming has changed dramatically over the years, and it's continuing to change. So unless they come up with a business model where they can, sell games a little bit less, I think the iOS and iPad and all that, I think those games are going to give Nintendo a run for its money ultimately. And of course, you can't forget about Sony with the PSP Vita. I love my Vita. It's pretty powerful handheld, and but that's more for the hardcore gamer, right? So I think there's two different audiences when it comes to handheld games. You get the 3DS, which of course handheld gamer or hardcore gamers will play, but those are more for casual gamers. I think you would agree. A younger audience will probably play 3DS over a Vita. I think that's just Nintendo's core audience. But my beef with Nintendo is they haven't changed over the years. I think they're stuck in the past. And the Wii U sales are down 36%. The CEO has taken his pay cut 50%. And I feel like here's what I feel like with Nintendo. I feel like with Nintendo, it's like a friend who I grew up with that is set in his ways, and you want to kind of shake him and say, hey dude, I'm here for you, I want to support you. But they continue doing the same things, and it's not working in the current environment that they're in. And that's my whole point about Nintendo. And I really hope that they listen to their fans. I kind of feel like Nintendo hasn't really listened to their fans, so to speak. They're kind of doing their own thing. They don't have a big presence at E3. They're kind of doing their own Nintendo Direct and all that good stuff, which is fine for them, whatever. But I really wish that they would cater more towards the audience that grew up with them. Where I kind of feel like they're leaving us as older gamers in the past. And I love Nintendo. When I think of Nintendo, I think of the old school Nintendo, right? I think of the NES, the Super Nintendo, the N64. I mean, there's no doubt without Nintendo, gaming would not be the same. They revolutionized the handhelds that we have, the controllers that we have, the analog stick to directional pad. That's Nintendo. They create all that. And, gaming would not be the same without Nintendo. And that's why I want to see them succeed. But the current Nintendo, the current status of Nintendo, I'm worried about them. The longevity of the Wii U. I don't want Nintendo to become the next Sega. I mean, perhaps we could start seeing Mario games on third-party platforms. Maybe we'll see a Mario game on the PS4 someday. Who knows? But ultimately, I really hope it doesn't get to that point because I really want Nintendo to succeed. And here's the straw that broke the camel's back for me with Nintendo. I have a secondary channel. It's called Nostalgiaholic, and it's a play on words. I use NES purposely, intentionally in that name because it shows how much I am a fan of Nintendo. And on that channel, I review a lot of stuff from the 80s and 90s growing up. And sometimes I'll review a Nintendo Power magazine. Sometimes I'll review a Game & Watch. And if you guys aren't familiar with a Game & Watch, it's basically a handheld by Nintendo. Came out through the 80s, LCD game, very basic, very beeps and bloops and whatever, just images, still images. I would hesitate to even call them graphics, right? So I did a video on this particular handheld. It's Super Mario Brothers. And in the video, I was playing it, and I talked about the history of it, and I talked about my memories playing this game growing up as a kid. The video is 3 minutes long. It's not a very long video. It's on my website. I'll put a link to that before so you can see it because I took it down off YouTube. But what really surprised me about this video is I uploaded it, no problem. The next day I log in and I noticed that the video, the monetization had been disabled. And so I checked my email, see if there's, I've been doing YouTube videos since 2008, right? So every once in a while I'll get an email from YouTube or Google and say, hey, John, this video has been flagged for this reason. Here's a point in this video where it's been flagged. And I'll watch it. And in some cases, I made a mistake, an honest mistake, and I'll leave it up there, whatever, and admit to my mistake. In some cases, I'll take it down just for whatever reason. But in this case, I never got an email from Google explaining this, and I never got an explanation. So I contacted YouTube and Google and said, hey, what's going on with this video? I just want to know. That way, I don't make the same mistake, because honestly, I didn't know what I did wrong in this video. And they pretty much came back and said, do you have permission to show this video or to show this game in your video? And I said, well, through copyright or through fair use, rather, there's a fair use law, which we have in the States, basically states if you can use footage of games and movies and music as long as you're doing it for review purposes. For example, movie critics can show samples of a movie and talk about it and review it, because it basically builds their point about the review of the movie. It'd just be kind of pointless to stand there and talk a movie without even showing it. So as long as you're making it your own, you have use of that product. And so I pretty much quoted that verbatim, and Google came back and pretty much denied me, said, slapped my wrist and said, don't do it again. And so what I think happened, I think someone from Nintendo actually personally flagged this video. And honestly, it's not about the money to me, because if that were the case, I'd post it on this main channel, Gamester81. But instead I posted on my Nostalgiaholic channel, just because, even though I got less subscribers on there, it kind of fit that channel a little bit more, I think, than this main one. But so it's not about the money to me, but it's more about the point. I know I'm not the only one. I know Nintendo has intentionally, flagged a lot of videos of theirs, especially their old school videos. So I want to kind of ask you guys, and I wrote an article about on my website weeks ago saying how I'm going to boycott Nintendo, and I was upset. And at that point I wrote that, I was really, really upset. I've given it a couple weeks to cool down, and I'm still firm on my stance about Nintendo, my thoughts about Nintendo. I'm not going to boycott them to the sense that I'm not going to buy. It's not like I'm not going to buy any of their games, but what I'm going to do is, if I can buy a new game, I'm going to get it used. I don't want to support a company that doesn't support their fans. And I really feel like they're not supporting us because they are flagging videos that it's free advertising for them. And I kind of see it like that. And some people will argue, say, well, John, fair use doesn't apply to advertising. You can basically apply to, you can make a video, but you can't monetize it. Well, that's not true, because reviewers, movie reviewers, critics and stuff, they get paid, and advertising makes the world go round. And it's not like I make a living off this stuff, guys, but it's when you put work into making a video, and YouTube needs to get paid as well, because they make a cut of it as well. I mean, YouTube provides us a free service, and people bitch and complain and moan about, oh, I don't like ads on YouTube. Well, I'm sorry, but you got ads on radio, you got ads on TV, you got ads on billboards. Everywhere you look, you see ads. It keeps it afloat. It provides us a free service, and it's free entertainment for you guys. So that's the kind of the whole point. So, I don't want to make a huge deal of this, because, I feel like Nintendo's hopefully going to change. And I know Nintendo's not the only company doing this. I know there's other companies like EA, and there's other companies that are flagging videos. But to me, I think Nintendo should be different, because they are the godfather of video gaming, and they've been doing this for so long. And is me doing a video on a Game & Watch really taken away from them? Is that really gonna, is that really affecting their brand, especially if I'm speaking highly of it? It's free advertising, free promotion. I just kind of scratch my head sometimes with their thought process behind that, because I know there's plenty of other companies out there that love people doing videos on it. And doing a review on a game is a lot different than doing a Let's Play on a game, where you're just playing the game. But even that, you can make an argument that playing an actual game is different than actually watching someone play a game, because video games are just different when you play. You control the character. It's a different experience, you know. I don't know. It's at first I thought it was maybe a music thing. Maybe there's, you know, a lot of times videos will get flagged because of music. This doesn't have music, so maybe it's because I tagged Super Mario Brothers. I don't know, but I wanted to. My whole point, I guess, is, you know, if this continues, where does Nintendo draw the line, right? Where do companies draw the line as far as copyrights? I wanted to do a video game review real quick, just to show you guys an example of what video game reviews could turn into on YouTube eventually if this path continues. Hey guys, welcome back. And today's episode, I'm going to be reviewing one of my favorite games and that is, this is a really fun game. I really like it. I remember watching the movie The Wizard back in the day when it came out in theaters. First time I ever saw this game for the first time, and I remember being blown away at the graphics. So the gameplay is cool. Basically, the way it works is you play as, and you have his brother, and you go, and it's different than the first, and as well. So guys, anyway, that's kind of my point, is you got to be careful about just posting video game footage in general. I think that's a lesson learned, and you know, as a company standpoint, I can certainly understand you got to respect your brand and whatnot, but I think Nintendo really needs to get with the times and understand that it's free promotion for them. How awesome would it be if Nintendo had another Nintendo World Championship event? I mean, how awesome would that be? Like, they had one in 1991, right? A lot of us know about this, about the gold card. But how cool would it be if they had an event? I mean, the three games that they could have would be, you know, maybe they could do like a Smash Brothers game version. They could do New Super Mario Brothers, and maybe they could do Excitebots or some other game, right, like that, or what have you. What three games would you guys pick? I'd leave a comment below. I'd like to hear you on that. But I think that'd be cool because it would generate excitement for the fan base. You know, right now a lot of people are looking at Nintendo, kind of scratching their head and saying, is the Wii U viable? You know, I think ultimately, do I think Nintendo is going to be hurting? No, I think they have plenty of money right at this point. But if they continue the path, they're losing 36% of the sales, expected sales from last year. That's not a good path to be on. And Nintendo was #1 for a long time with the Wii, and I think they got kind of over themselves. I think Nintendo's lost touch with their fan base. You know, there's no doubt they're going to come out with some great games, and that's great. You know, new Zelda, like I said before, new Mario Kart, but can their first-party games support them enough? I mean, are there enough fans out there to support them? You know, especially if those fans are, you know, they're pretty much biting the hands that feed them for the most part. So what I've decided to do on my channel is I'm not going to review any Nintendo games until this gets all cleared up. You know, retro or new, whatever. Now, I will still review old school Nintendo products. I'm happy to do that, whatever. But when it comes to Nintendo games, I'm not going to review those because I don't want to risk the chance of my videos getting flagged again by Nintendo or anyone like that. So that's just my decision, and I will still absolutely support old school Nintendo stuff. I'm a huge fan of Nintendo. I'll still support NES, Super Nintendo, whatnot, and even the Wii U to the point. But if I had an option to purchase, and let me just say this real quick, if I were to buy a new game, I prefer to buy new. Okay, I want to buy new because I understand that people work hard on producing those games, right? But if a company is not going to support us, honestly, I don't want to support them. So if there's a game coming out for Nintendo, I'm going to buy it used if I can. And I'll just wait. I'll wait. But ultimately, I hope Nintendo changes. You know, I'm optimistic they will. And I think some people, you know, the people say that sometimes the biggest fans can be the biggest critics. And I really feel that's the case with me because I am a fan of Nintendo. Honestly, deep down, I am a fan of Nintendo. And it really pains me to see where Nintendo has become as far as just going after people and, you know, kind of stuck in the past. So that's my point. The whole point of this video is I want to establish three things. I want to establish A, I am a fan of Nintendo. B, I don't think it's right Nintendo flagging videos in some cases. I think some cases it's probably legit, right? But in most cases it's probably not. And the third point I want to make is I got worried about the Wii U overall with third-party support. They haven't really done a good job as far as developing those third-party companies or relationships, because ultimately those will help keep a system afloat. And you know, I think it's, you know, when you consider that the PS4 and Xbox One have sold more systems or as many systems as the Wii U, and the Wii U has had a year headway or a start, that's not a good sign. That doesn't bode well for Nintendo. So please leave a comment below, guys. I appreciate it. Please leave respectful comments. Okay, I'm not hating on Nintendo at all, but I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.